Okay, question number 2, part B, using sampling method 2. Using sampling method 2, the farmer randomly selects row E and examined every cabbage plant in row E. So he chose row E, right? Randomly. Okay, so randomly selected row E. Determine whether the selection of row E is likely to provide an overestimate or an underestimate of the proportion of cabbage plants that are damaged by aphids. Justify your answer. That if the farmer's belief is correct. What was the farmer's belief again? The farmer's belief is that the plants closest to the river, the regions closest to the river, are the ones that are going to be mostly affected, mostly damaged by these insects from the river. So if he randomly selected row E, then definitely you're going to get the largest percentage of cabbage plants that are damaged by aphids, because row E, out of all the rows, row E is closest to the river. So of course we expect what? We expect our answer, our percentage that we calculate, to be an overestimate of the percentage of plants in the entire field that are damaged by aphids, because row E is closest to the river. And so how do we answer this question to get the full mark? We say row E will likely provide an overestimate of the proportion of cabbage plants damaged by aphids, since row E is the closest row to the river, and since the farmer believes the plants closest to the river will be damaged the most, right? So therefore, regions in row E will have a greater proportion of plants damaged than those further from the river. Okay, and so that's the answer for part B. So in part C, describe how to implement sampling method 3, which requires a random selection of one region from each row, A, B, C, D, and E. So there are two ways in which we can answer this question. The first one is we can say the farmer can use a random number generator. Okay, so for row 1, you take the numbers 1 to 5. So 0, 1 to 0, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then your random numbers generator will generate one two-digit number between 1 and 5. Let's say it gives you the number 0, 4. It means for this integer that the random number generator selected, the farmer is going to select the corresponding numbered region, okay, and examine every cabbage plant in it. We're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to repeat the process for all the rows, for row B, C, D, and E. For row B, you're going to ask the random number generator to generate for you a number between 6 and 10. So let's say it generates the number 7. Okay, so therefore the farmer would have to select region 7 and examine every plant in it. Same thing with row C. You're gonna ask the random number generator to generate for you one two-digit number between 11 and 15. Let's say it generates 14. So the farmer is gonna take region 14 and examine every plant in region 14. So this process is gonna be repeated for rows A, B, C, D, and E. Of course, with different numbers. So 0, 1 to 0, 5 in row A, 6 to 10 in row B, 11 to 15 in row C, 16 to 20 in row D, and 21 to 25 in row E. So for each integer selected, the farmer would select the corresponding numbered region and examine every cabbage. Then finally, after he's done, he can calculate the proportion of these plants that were damaged by aphids. Okay. Another way is if the farmer uses a hat and slips of paper. So let's say for row A, he will label 5 slips of paper numbered from 1 to 5, and then he's going to put these papers in the hat, mix them well, and then select one paper. Let's say he got the number 4. So if he got the number 4, okay, so when you select one number from that row, the farmer would inspect all that plants in that corresponding region. Okay, and then you're going to repeat the process for all other rows, row B, C, D, and E, except, of course, you have to mention that for row B, you're going to take so 5 new slips of paper and label them 6 to 10, and then choose a paper out of these values between 6 and 10. And also for row C, okay, again, in the hat, you're going to put papers that are labeled from 11 to 15 and mix them well, and then take one paper. Okay, so again, so you're just labeling 5 slips of paper, you're putting them in the hat, mixing them well, and selecting one paper. Okay, 1 to 5 for row A, 6 to 10 for row B, 11 to 15 for row C, row D, and row E. You get the idea. Then you select one number from each row, one paper, of course, from each row, and then the farmer would inspect all the plants in the corresponding regions and calculate the proportion of plants that are damaged by aphids. Okay, so you have two methods: random number generator or a hat and slips of paper. Okay, you can choose whichever way you like.